Hi, my name is Alexandria Scott Newsom.
My name is Jermaine Pippen.
All right, here's your consent form. It says that I, Jermaine, give Alexandria permission to videotape this mock Christ and counseling session. And you will sign and date it here. Okay, thank you. So, what brings you in today?
Oh, today I just want to come in and talk to you about, some family issues and stuff that I've been going through throughout my whole life.
Okay.
And I'm just ready to let it go.
Okay, so tell me more about these family issues that you're ready to let go.
Well, I'm just gonna start off with, I'm from a small town and everything, and I was raised by a single mom who did whatever she could do to provide for us. It was five of us, and I knew my dad growing up, but he wasn't a pivotal part of my life and everything. But it kind of hurt growing up because my dad had other children by another woman, and to see him, being a father in their lives, it was just kind of hard, growing up, and being a father now of my own. I have a daughter, and it's just some things that I really want to let go, or just come to peace, or just what I'm saying, get closure, so to speak, on certain things that I've been dealing with, what I'm saying, with my dad.
Okay, so how does that make you feel? I want to go back to when you said that your father had other kids by other women. I want to go back to that. How does that make you feel?
I mean, when I met my sisters and brothers, I mean, it was, pretty much love at first sight, and like still to this day, it's always been that way, you know. But the relationship with my dad is what, I really needed growing up. And my relationship with my dad is, you know, I feel like in a way that it's, kind of holding me back from moving forward in my life and just, being the great father that I know to be to my daughter and things like that.
Okay, before your father was in the picture, he's been in the picture all your life?
Well, I've known him, like, we lived in the same town, and I maybe lived probably like 4 or 5 miles away from him, and like when I was younger, I used to walk like across town because back in the days I grew up in the 90s. So it was just pretty much like, it wasn't like a lot of kidnapping and stuff like this. So it was pretty much like, you can go on this side of town during the day, walk here, walk there. So, I came across it and, I saw my sisters and brothers on the other side of town. And then I met my aunts and my uncles, on my dad's side, just by, going on that side of town, maybe, to a store or something like that. And, I remember just growing up and just being around them, and it was like love at first sight,
right.
But, later on I started to, want to, spend more time with my sisters and brothers. So, I talked to my mom about, letting me go over and spend the night with my dad or with my sisters and brothers mainly, but mainly when I went over there, it was just pretty much like, I was spending the night with my friends as opposed to just actually spending quality time with my dad. So, I had a cousin, who my dad and his wife, you know, raised. And, he was my cousin and he more like a brother to me, a little brother to me and everything. But at the same time, it was kind of hurtful growing up, seeing my dad, be a pivotal part of his life and being a dad to him. While at the same time, I still have a single parent and, I have to go through this and go through that or pretty much just teach myself a lot of things in life. But, I really pretty much, I did pretty good in school. I made pretty good grades in school. Um, you know, most of the things that a lot of people are complaining about as far as like being in a single parent, household or dad wasn't around for them and stuff like that, they use that as a, an excuse to do wrong and stuff like that. But I use it as motivation, you know what I'm saying? And, pretty much like around that time, I had a job ever since I was like 14 years old, and I worked in like grocery stores and stuff like that. And I've always been respectable and people always, commend me on that, or compliment my parents on that and stuff like that. So
Okay, so taking from your experience with you and your dad, what ways are you trying to use to better your relationship as a father to your own child?
well, pretty much, the way I grew up is like I grew up without a father. I knew my father, but I didn't have him there, and he thought that pretty much that material things were enough when quality time is more than material things to me, and I feel like just learning from those mistakes that he made, I would be there, you know, for my daughter more than financially being there, as a shoulder or teaching her about boys and, being a good father figure for her, taking her out to eat, showing her what a man's supposed to, how a man's supposed to treat a woman and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
And pretty much just giving them that time because you can't make up time. Time is like, you know, it waits on no man. So pretty much time is precious. You can't get it back. So I feel like time is more important. That's what I pretty much needed growing up. But I thank God for my uncles and my cousins and people like that that pretty much took me under their wing and pretty much treat me like their own child and stuff like that.
Okay, so do you feel like your time that you have is wasted throughout the days, or do you feel some type of way about the time management skills that you do have, because you have mentioned time, and I wanted to know, why you strongly feel that there's not enough time, and the fact that your dad wasted his time with you. I want to know, what is your issue on time?
I mean, I think that time is important. I think that perfect timing is important. I've looked to, rekindle our relationship, and I'm, just trying to look past the past because the past is the past, and I've, reached out to Olive Branch as far as trying to, communicate that I want to have a better relationship with him, and I mean, the past is the past, and like we can move forward,
Mm-hmm.
in our relationship and things like that. So I mean, I feel like time is real important, but at the same time, I mean, you know, perfect timing is important, but you can go back and fix things. So I feel like time is important in all aspects. I mean, if you're trying, because I mean, long as we're still alive, I'm still alive, my dad's still alive. I feel like time is important, but at the same time, I mean, time waits on no man. My dad's getting older, and I'm also getting older and wiser. But at the same time, it's like you know, we can fix it, but it's only if he was willing to fix it. I mean, I've tried to work on him, as far as fixing it and stuff like that. But
Okay, so what are some of the ways that you tried to fix it since you've been older?
Well, since I've been older, I'm not at this moment. I'm not allowing my dad to be in my daughter's life for the simple fact that he wasn't in my life, and if he's not gonna be, around a permanent presence around her, then I'd rather him not be around her at all. For the simple fact that, you're not gonna do to her what you did to me, and I don't have no resent towards him at all whatsoever. But for a long time, it was like, I felt like, the love that I didn't get from my dad was what didn't complete me, growing up. So it was like most of the problems that I faced growing up, because I came to Southern Miss,
Mm-hmm.
and straight out of high school and everything, and it was just like most of the stuff that I had to deal with. Pretty much, I had to grow up on my own.
Right.
I had to learn pretty much life experience through my own life or through my own light, so to speak. Seeing mistakes that friends made or other people made, and I learned to not make those mistakes merely just by watching them instead of just having to, not as opposed to bumping my head
Right.
and having to touch that fire for myself and figure out that it's hot. I can hear about that it's hot, and I won't make that mistake. So, I pretty much, taught myself everything, as an adult. And it was kind of hard. So, honestly, I kind of resented him for that because, growing up, I was like, it was hard, for one person, but, it was just something I had to deal with at the time.
Okay. Well, I need for you to give me some of your coping mechanisms when dealing with certain situations because you seem to have a lot of thought process when you speak and also within your dialect, and you could tell I could tell like you might be a little hurt, so I want you to tell me like what are some ways that you cope with this situation.
Ways that I cope with the situation is like, I mean, I work hard. Sometimes I bury myself in my work, pretty much, to keep my mind off of certain things. Like when negative things come my way, I rather work and work towards my success in order to deal with certain things. Pretty much, I go absent. And the reason I say absent is sometimes I probably won't call, or I just go to have me some me time. For the simple fact that I'm an introvert, and like I'm not a people's person already, and you know if I'm dealing with some things, I'm definitely not gonna be too open about it.
Do you feel like you're an introvert or you know you're an introvert?
I know I'm an introvert for sure.
Okay. Well, what are some ways that you try to work on gaining relationships with people?
Some ways I work on gaining relationships with people is to learn people pretty much. I'm not saying that I can do that with everybody, but some people you learn, and some people are like in 5 minutes is quick to understand like what they value, you know, their attitudes. Pretty much you can tell by the people they hang around, or and stuff like that. The apple doesn't fall far from the tree, is what I believe. So
is that because your apple does not fall too far from the tree?
Well, I don't think so, because at the same time, like I said, my dad wasn't a part of my life, so in my mind, I felt like I had to do everything to prove him wrong.
But why do you feel like the apple don't fall too far for the tree for everybody else?
Well, I feel like that's a good question. But I feel like the apple don't fall too far from the tree where everybody else is, because you know, in a aspect of like just like conversation and stuff like that, what people talk about and stuff, or what people do. I feel like it's pretty much your product of your environment.
Can you give me an example?
An example of like just a person being a product of their environment, or just
the apple does not
fall far from the tree. Example of the apple don't fall too far from the tree is pretty much like people who hang together. Like, well, I'm just saying, like, just gossip. You know what I mean? Like people who indulge in gossip and negativity and stuff like that. Like if I come across a girl or a person who engages in gossip and things like that, and like 2 or 3 more friends are joining in, then in my mind, these people are for the drama. You know what I mean? So that's why I feel like the apple don't fall too far from the tree, because like I can just see, like, say, take you for instance. Say for instance that you got a friend, and
this
that friend
is not about me.
I understand, but what I'm saying though, just for example, like say for instance, if a person is saying something, so one of your friends is saying something, and they just like so negative about it all the time, just being negative all the time about it. Then I would think that I wouldn't automatically put you in that category, but it would be something to think about.
Okay, do you feel that the people that are gossiping have no concern for the person they're talking about? The reason why you feel this way?
Well, yeah, but sometimes when it's done in a negative light, because it's a constructive way that you can do that. But I really feel like you should, I feel like they should, at least, have the person who, who the subject is upon involved in that conversation. That way, nothing gets misconstrued, or no third, party information.
Is that what you would do in this situation?
Yeah. I would have that person involved pretty much.
Okay, but you would still gossip in front of their face.
I mean, no, but it wouldn't be considered gossiping, because I feel like that we would be in a comfortable place where we can talk about this. But I mean, if you're not comfortable with talking about this, then we can stop talking about it altogether. So it'll only be, I would have you present, but at the same time, it'll be with your permission. Without your permission, I wouldn't even do it.
Have you ever gossiped around other folks about somebody without them being there in the presence?
Not a friend.
not a friend, but it's gossip, right?
Yeah.
So give me your perspective on that. How do you feel their difference within those two?
Well, just with me talking about a matter. Well,
not a friend and a friend. A person
oh, well, not
is
a friend
still
and a friend.
person.
Yeah, a person is still a person, and that's true. But in a friend aspect, you know, you feel more of an obligation to a friend than you would to a person that's just in the, you know, just a random person. A random person at the same time, you know, you'll feel less of an obligation, you know, to them. But as a friend, you value that friendship. So of course, you know, that's the difference that I see. I would rather, you know, I value your friendship enough to talk about it in front of you and assure you that nothing else has been said, you know, on my behalf, you know, without your presence.
Okay. Well, thank you for coming into the session today.
I'm glad I did because it kind of, you know, it kind of like was a weight lifted because like I'm just gonna go on to tell you just a few more things, not too much to keep you, but you know, later on, you know, I had that resentment towards my dad and everything, and you know, we talked about building a better relationship and everything like that, and it was like my dad, he's a deacon in the church and he's a changed man, you know, and everything, but like I said, I don't want to judge people. But at the same time, I'm saying, like, if you're, you know, a man of God, then I feel like you should make more of an effort to be in me and my daughter's life, you know, instead of just saying you're going to do something, just handing empty promises. And that's part of the reason why, you know, he's not in my daughter's life right now. So, you know, it's just things like that. But I've come to terms where to just let it go. You know, at the end of the day, I love my dad because without him, I wouldn't be here. But at the same time, I just have to let it go because sometimes in life you may be waiting on an apology from somebody and you just going to be waiting forever. And really, sometimes it's not even about the person. It's really about you and forgiving, you know. And sometimes you just got to forgive and just let it go. And, you know, I've learned to let it go, you know, and everything. And, I mean, we text, you know, from time to time. But, you know, our relationship is not where I want it to be. But at the same time, I think it'll get better with time. But if it don't get better, I feel like, you know, everything happened for a reason. So, you know, it's all in good faith, though. I mean, I'm not going to neglect my daughter. You know, I'm going to make sure I be there for her, you know, throughout my life and her life, you know, and everything like that. So, I mean, I've learned a valuable lesson from this. And, I mean, I feel like everything that I did go through in life was meant for a reason. You know, I'm the person I am today because of what I've been through, you know. But at the same time, it's a difference in between letting, you know, what you went through be your story or letting what you went through, you know, dictate your future. And I just let it be my story, but it does not define who I am. So, you know, I've learned from it, but it's just by the grace of God, though, that I have. And that's one of my coping mechanisms. God is my coping mechanism to deal with it.
So I will take it that when it comes to religion, what all do you do in that aspect to cope with it?
I pray. God knows my heart. So I pray and ask him to work on me. And not only work on me, because if it's not me, then work on the situation.
Okay.
You know, work on my situation.
And how does that make you feel?
It made me feel good because I'm a strong believer in my faith. And, you know, I have, you know, strong, you know, belief in the word of God. And I believe that whatever he said he's going to do, he's going to do it, you know. And sometimes, you know, we as humans get impatient. You know, it's because sometimes we want God to act on our own time, but like the people say, you know, he may not come when you want him, but he'll be there right on time. And I'm a firm believer of that. I really believe it. So I just have to let it go and give it to God. And ever since I have been letting it go and giving it to God, no matter what it's been, it's always been working out for me. So I can't complain.
Well, thank you.
No problem.
Thank you for taking out the time.
No problem.
And, you know, coming to meet me today. I hope to see you very soon so we can continue our session.
Hopefully next week, please, next week. I need to talk to you about some stuff, but next week, please.
Okay, thank you. You have a nice day.
You too.